Hello everyone, my name is Justin, aka Ghost Reader, and today I'm going to be doing my Monsterathon / September wrap-up. September was a busy month for me, as August and September have been. October is also going to be a really busy month, but mostly like a reading busy month rather than like doing things busy month like September was. I wish I could had the chance to participate more in the Discord for Monsterathon, but I was happy to sometimes take over the Twitter page for Monsterathon and participate with all of you. Congrats to everyone who did participate. Thank you for participating. I want to thank Kate for putting together the Monsterathon and inviting me to be a host for it. Go Team Ghost. All of you did a good job. Go Team Haunt. Not Ghost, that's me. Go Team Haunt. You guys did a good job no matter what your numbers were at the end. And I'm just so glad you guys got to get together and read for this readathon. So I'm going to go through the stuff that I read for the Monsterathon first, and then quickly go through the other stuff that I read in September as well, quickly, because some of them I've already done reviews for or going to do them, so that should be pretty quick. All right, so let's go ahead and get into what I read for the Monsterathon. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is Monstress Volume 4. This The Chosen by Marjorie Liu and art by Sana Takada. I got this towards the end of the month. This came out September 25th, and I've been eagerly awaiting this. I actually forgot about it. I ended up, I actually remembered the day of that was coming out, then promptly forgot that it came out on that day, and then had to wait 2 days to get to the store to get it. But basically, Monsters continues the story from Volume 3. We find out the identity of this man, who's popped up in some earlier volumes, and the story kind of leads towards like this impending war that seems that's about to happen between the humans, the Arcanics, and the old, well, not the old guys, but the ancients. And also like the impact of the old gods trying to come back into this world. This volume feels more transition, like a transition. So it looks like it feels like a bridge between volume 3 and what's going to happen in volume 5. So it wasn't as like, the story wasn't as like, I think it's good as like the other ones, because there's a lot of transition there. It still has like some really it's still good. I think it's still a good story, just not as good as, I say, like volumes 1 and 2. Like I said, it feels like a transition, a bridge between what has happened in the first 3 volumes and what's going to happen in volume 5. So it definitely leaves you in the place where you're very interested in what's going to happen in volume 5, or what the comics that make that up. And it feels like it's going to be like a long wait for the next volume of this to come out. But when it does, I will be eagerly waiting for it to come out. The next 2 reads were, actually next 3 reads were audiobooks. And the first one is The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I actually read Hyperion, the audiobook for, or listened to the audiobook for Hyperion in August, and it was amazing. One of the best books I've read this year. Definitely one of the best sci-fis I've read, and this is continuation of that. It picks up where Hyperion left off. Basically, since I didn't talk about Hyperion, Hyperion basically is kind of written in the style of the Canterbury Tales, and where you have like these pilgrims that are going to this planet to come face to face with this monster called the Shrike. And along the way, as they're traveling to get to what's called the Time Tombs, where the Shrike resides, or this monster resides, and try to figure out like its purpose and figure out what the opening of the Time Tombs means. They each tell a story about their connection to the Shrike and to the planet Hyperion. The book basically kind of goes through each of the individual. I think there were 6 pilgrims, 5 of them tell their stories, and it was great. I liked it. It ends on a huge cliffhanger, and that cliffhanger is picked up on in The Fall of Hyperion, which actually tells the story as a traditional narrative. So it's just like a traditional narrative that doesn't use the Canterbury Tale style of storytelling, just a straight narrative. And this was just as good. This basically picks up where Hyperion left off. You visit the pilgrims and see what's happening with them in Hyperion, but you also get to see what's happening out in the wider galaxy with what's going on. There's an impending war and the fallout from all that, and it was just absolutely great. I liked where each of the characters ends up at the end, because you kind of get attached to them in the first one, and to see where they end up, and follow Hyperion, how the story all comes together, was just amazing, great. I don't want to spoil any of it. If you like sci-fi, I think you really like Hyperion. I had seen this on the bookshelves, and follow Hyperion. I've seen this on the bookshelves for years and never picked it up. Finally decided to pick up the audio version of it during the sale, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I'm definitely going to continue, because there are actually 4 books in this series. I forget what the other 2 are called, but I'm definitely going to be continuing this series. And the next book that I read as audiobook was Dracula by Bram Stoker. And this, of course, is the classic vampire story. Basically, Dracula comes from his castle, comes to England, and basically a group of humans band together to fight him off. If I had to pick between Dracula and Frankenstein, which one I liked better, I will say that I liked Frankenstein better. This story is told as a collection of journal entries, and so you hear from many different voices, like, you know, Jonathan Harker, Mina Harker, Van Helsing, and some others, and part of that group. And it was good. I liked it, but it wasn't like an amazing read for me. But I can definitely can see, like, you know, of course, the impact of it. It kind of was a precursor to, you know, what we now think of as a modern vampire. So yeah, Dracula by Bram Stoker. The audio, the acting on this was great, by the way. So kudos to the actors on this. And then the next book was a reread, and that was The Man from the Train. One of the prompts for the Monsterathon was read a book about monstrous human, and I could think of no one better to fit this than The Man from the Train. Basically, this guy was going around, and his modus operandi, or MO, was to go into a house full of a family and basically kill everyone in the house with a blunt axe, shut the house up, leave, and then jump on a train and leave town. And basically, this book basically goes through murders that could be clearly attributed to him, some murders that could or could not be, and some not. And basically goes through each of these cases that may or may not be his, examines it, see whether or not it's actually something that he would do, like if it fits like his signature MO, and basically at the end offers a possible identity for who this man could be. Also, it's just like kind of like sad to see, because not only do you have like these families being like annihilated by this guy who's just callously going in, axing people, jumping on a train, and then moving on to whatever next town he does as he's working, and, you know, with the seasons he's moving and stuff. It's that innocent people are being blamed for his crimes. So not only is like the family being annihilated, but also some random person in town, usually an outsider, or in some cases, unfortunately, African Americans, get blamed for his crime, and either, you know, they're given a trial. Sometimes they were found not guilty. Sometimes they're just kind of railroaded into like a guilty plea and into like a guilty sentencing, and then and other times they don't even make it there. Like in a couple of cases of black people being accused of these crimes, they were just lynched right out. So and in some cases, almost some white people too got lynched when people like thought that they did some of these crimes because they were so horrible. So so yeah, I could think of no one better for their particular prompt by this book, and that's why I decided to reread it. Very, very horrible thing that the topic covered in this book, but yeah, The Man from the Train. And last but not least, for the Monsterathon, I read the 3 stories from the Unnatural Creatures, which was like the Monsterathon's book, and each group, the Haunts, the Conspiracies, and the Beast, had a story in this book, and I read all 3, and that were The Spots by Gunhan Wilson, The Griffin and the Minor Canon by Frank Stockton, and Come Lady Death by Peter Beagle. And basically, The Unnatural Creatures is stories that Neil Gaiman brought together and put into this book as a collection of unnatural creatures. I think my favorite was Lady Death. And, well, actually, I would think my favorite was The Spot. And I would say second favorite was Lady Death, which is my team's read. and then my I won't say least favorite because I liked it too, the Griffin and the Minor Canon. So those were all great stories. And yeah, so that is it for my Monsterathon reads. I really enjoyed everything that I read for the Monsterathon. Enjoyed when it comes to manning the train. It's kind of morbid, but it was interesting. But yeah, so quickly, the rest of the stuff that I read in September. That is The Star and the Blackness Between Them by Jonathan Petrus. I actually did a review for this. You can find that. Maybe I'll put like a banner up here so you can see that video. But yeah, The Star and the Blackness Between Them, which I did a review for. Diversity, The Failed Promise of a $1 billion Business by Pamela Newkirk. I will be reviewing this month. That comes out like October 22nd, I believe. Tech Titans of China by Rebecca Fannin. How China's tech sector is challenging the world by innovating faster, working harder, and going global. This is a book that is about business, how businesses in China are getting, why they're doing well, essentially. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a review of this book, so you can keep a eye out for that one. The House of Spirits by Isabel Allende was a book that I started reading for the Latin Exathon, and I didn't finish it. This is a book that I'm going to finish, though, because I really like it. It kind of has a similar feel to Gabriel Marquez's work, The 100 Years of Solitude, that magical realism, and the writing style is similar. So I really liked it. Like, there's this one particular scene in the very beginning where the main character, Clara, I think her name, says something to one of the priests that I thought was just absolutely hilarious. And so yeah, it definitely hooked me. Once I get time, I'm definitely gonna go back and finish this book. And I also started reading Paradise Lost by John Milton. Maybe we'll finish it in October. I'm not sure. We'll see for sure. But that is it for what I read in September. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you did the Monsterathon, let me know how your reads were. What was your favorite read of the Monsterathon? And if you didn't, but you read something in September, let me know your reads down in the comment section below. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at GhostReads28, on Instagram at Justin the Ghost Reader, and also on Goodreads. The link to that is down in the description box below. So as always, keep reading.